I told you every New York Knicks fan was going to have. Like, you guys are going to have unrealistic expectations for your team. Now you're going to tell me you don't want to pay me? I'm Mr. New York. You talk about culture. Players around the league pay attention to how you treat your guys.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Summers.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Thursday. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Welcome in. How are you? We got 3 full hours coming your way, and we got a lot to get into. We have our over-under, little NBA playoffs, little college football, there's a new professional football league, or kind of new, a returning one. We'll talk about all that coming up around the corner. More comments and audio from Coach Krzyzewski, kind of shedding some more lights behind the reason that he's going to be retiring following the 2022 season, or the 2021-2022 season. We have all of that. We'll also, Wright State baseball coach Alex Sogard, he's going to join us an hour from now, 4 o'clock. We'll chat with him. His Wright State Raiders are back in the NCAA championships for the 4th time in the last 6 seasons. They got a 4 seed, and I'm excited to talk with him about that coming up, because they're going to be on ESPN3 tomorrow, 6 o'clock. And Wright State, the best team in Ohio, like regularly. Like, that's not like not a shot in the pan or anything like that. Like, this program is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to college baseball. So we'll talk about that with him coming up here an hour from now, 4 o'clock. I want to open up with this, Kev. So Duke's head basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski, of course, yesterday made headlines because he announced he's going to call it a career after this upcoming season. He made an interesting quote, because right away, remember yesterday I said that I believe that, although I don't think that he's only doing this because of this, that I believe one of the main reasons contributing to him kind of, leaving the game is because of the transfer portal just absolutely taking off the way that it has over the last couple of years. There is an adjustment that has to be made to that for coaches who have been used to mapping out their program and their roster structure 2 to 3 years out. You no longer are doing that. You are I think college coaches are dealing with juggling rosters more than NBA coaches are. Like, the NBA, you at least know who your core is based on contracts. I know contracts mean technically nothing, but you know what I mean? Like, you at least know who your core is going to be for a while. Coach K, these great coaches who are used to knowing who their freshmen and sophomores and juniors and seniors were going to be for the next 2, 3, 4 years, they have no clue, because now you're balancing the transfer portal along with the one and dones, which Coach K has adjusted to the one and dones and has found a way to make it work. He did it better, probably, I think, than most, because he found a way to balance it to where Coach Calipari, Kev, was all about the one and dones, point guard, forward, center. You know what I mean? Like, his whole roster was nothing but one and dones.
Come one, come all.
And that was his approach. It hasn't worked. He's won 1 national championship, which, of course, you could say if it gets you 1 national championship, there are great coaches who are still looking for one right now. But Coach Krzyzewski did it better than anybody else, because he found a way, and Roy Williams did the same thing. We're going to mix our one and done. We're going to find our one and dones, and we're going to build around those one and dones. But we got to make sure that if we're going to bring in one and dones, that means we're bringing in 18-year-old kids who go from eating in a high school cafeteria one year to playing in a sold-out Cameron Indoor, potentially playing in a Final Four national championship 365 days later. That's tough to do if you have all freshmen. Mm-hmm. There's no one there to show them the ropes. There's only so much a coach can prepare you for those type of moments. You need some kind of stability out on the floor, guys who have been there, guys who have been through the battle, the grind, the fight, who know how to do it. You can't have 4 guys of your start. You can't have 4 to 5 guys in your starting 5 all out on the floor at the same time in the Final Four or the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 in a huge tournament atmosphere and have all 17, 18-year-olds who are looking at each other like, holy crap, this is unlike anything we've experienced before. Coach K acknowledged that, and he found the perfect blend of him. Him and Roy Williams did it perfectly. Boeheim was doing the same thing too, to be honest with you, until really started kind of getting to the point where they had the sanctions and everything, losing some scholarships. That's set them back a bit. But doing a great job of saying we're going to have 2 to 3 of our one and done guys, but man, we're going to have 2 to 3 year guys kind of building around them. We're going to kind of pad it a bit, provide a little bit of a bumper. If you ever bowled with bumpers, sure, you're hoping that you won't need the bumpers. You're hoping that when you throw that ball, that when you roll that ball, it's going to go right down the middle. You're going to hit all 10 pins and you're going to get a strike and you didn't even need the bumpers. But if something goes a little crazy, those bumpers are going to kind of keep you in line a little bit.
Right.
And it was the bumper approach for Coach Krzyzewski. I just came up with that analogy right there on the spot. I feel pretty damn good about it. How is all of you doing today? That's how they did it, and it worked, Kev. And that's what's amazing. But Coach K today was asked about why. Why now? Why are you retiring now? Now he says, well, I want to spend more time with my family. I'm like, you've been a basketball lifer for 50 years. No offense. I will never say these guys don't care about their family, but basketball is just as much a part of their lives as it is his life. Like, it's their life. So I'm not saying I don't believe that, but he did bring up a good point. They're both, him and his wife are going to be turning 75 by the end of next basketball season. And so, hoping that they live to 11, 3/4 of the way through his basketball. They're hoping to enjoy the last fourth of their life together. And I believe that. But he did acknowledge, someone said, well, is it because of the way, the way that the game has changed? He said, no, has nothing to do with the game changing, although it is a complete mess. So, yes, I do believe that is why he is stepping up partially. There is not one particular, I think family is the core of it. And then I think you could start spiderwebbing out with some of the other reasons. I just thought the press conference was interesting. I loved hearing about his succession plan, of course, with Shire, what the heck's his name?
John Shire.
Shire taking over. He said that the reason he was adamant, he says that he was very well aware that he was going to most likely get some criticism for naming a coach right away. He just said, look, people can be upset with that all they want, but this is called good business. He goes, no other line of work does a president of a company just retire and then you start looking to replace them. Like, there is always the next person in waiting. And he said that's just, that was been his philosophy that he learned when, back to his military days. And he's taken that same philosophy into how they wanted to approach this. And for folks out there complaining, we have witnessed it work. This is actually very similar, minus the drama, to what we saw with Ohio State and Urban Meyer. Now, Coach K is a way better basketball coach than Urban Meyer is a football coach, but both are one of the greatest of all time in their particular sports. But you know what I mean, Kev? Like, Urban Meyer announced that he was going to be done at the end of, well, technically he did that after the regular season, and then there was the build of the month up to the Rose Bowl, correct? Like, when did he initially announce he was going to be done? Wasn't it towards the end of the season, or was it after the regular season?
It was after the regular season. It was after believe it was after the Big Ten championship game.
So then that's when that was done purposely to button up recruiting.
Yeah, it was after recruiting.
To get Ryan Day in there to allow, and then again, to put Ryan Day up on that pedestal to make sure that, hey, although he's never been a head coach before, he's kind of navigated us through some rocky waters going back to the 3 games that he was the interim coach for during Urban's suspension and the way that they were able to get through that. So we've seen teams do this all the time. It's funny looking at some of the comparisons between how Duke is doing this and how Ohio State did it, although there were outside circumstances leading to Ohio State's shift in direction versus what Duke is doing. But overall, good press conference, answered a lot of questions. I still don't believe that today's game is why he is not retiring. I do believe that is why. I just don't think it's the central reason. But I think if you have a pie chart, I'd say I'd give it about 40% for the game to. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I've said, I have no. I mean, if that's what he says, that's what he says. People want to find a reason to beat up on him. But man, he's the conference started with one of those dad jokes. One of those really weird, uncomfortable jokes. We always call, Michael's the GOAT. No, LeBron's the GOAT. We always use the word GOAT, right? The greatest of all time.
Right.
I don't think Coach Krzyzewski understands what GOAT means, because he tried to make a joke. I'm assuming he knows what GOAT means, but he goes on to say that, he goes, my athletic director, my friend Kevin White, comes up here and calls me a GOAT. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. I was glad that he didn't call me a donkey. Ha ha ha. And I'm like, that is so like cheesy, man. That is so cheesy. It's just like that's the dude recruiting right there.
in his day, GOAT meant something else. I believe GOAT meant the scapegoat. That's what he meant.
Maybe that's what he is right now. We just don't know it.
And to your point, it's still a bad dad joke. And it's a bad joke. I didn't hear it until you told me about it. I went and watched part of it before the show started, and you could hear a pin drop when he dropped that joke. It was maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. It was a bad joke.
I make jokes all the time that fall flat, so I could relate to it. That's the only time I felt like Coach K for a little bit. Yeah.
But for me with Coach K, there's nothing but respect for him as a basketball coach. And, it could be a little bit of both. It could be, yeah, man, I want to spend my golden years with my wife and hang out with my grandkids and do all these cool things that I really don't have too much time for because I'm coaching and recruiting and everything like that. But I do believe that a small part of it is the way, the game is changing. But, the game is always going to change. And that's why we talked about new blood in coaching and everything like that. And that's why it's so important, because the game is always going to change. Because some of our older listeners can remember in the 90s, on a college football team, you could have 100 scholarships. Nebraska was rolling out there with backups to the backups that are 5-star recruits. You can't do that anymore. They snipped the scholarship limit down.
What's it down to now? Like 50? I
believe it is down to 70.
Oh, it's still okay. That's higher than I thought. Why did I say 50?
That's I said NFL.
NFL. Oh, I'm getting all the roster caps. Oh, okay, ignore that. But yeah,
or no, 85 scholarships. It's 85 scholarships. So you got an 85. Used to be 100, and back in the 70s, like it was like 150. So these small things that constantly change over time, we as people have to realize, like, all right, man, these coaches aren't going to coach forever. And at some point, we're always going to be that person that we were back in the day. Like, stuff like is always going to irritate us about how things change. Like, I know how you are about the jerseys. Like, you want the home team to wear white jerseys.
No, that still ticks me off.
You know what I'm saying? And like, for instance, there's a ton of other things. Like, it just is what it is. So for me, it is nothing that says America like a rich man telling other people that I don't like it, I'm taking my ball and going home. That's what it felt like to me yesterday when I started really digging into things, because I didn't get a chance to read the whole articles and get like some type of feedback. He says this isn't 100% why, but there's a lot of inkling out there about, the what are they calling it? The player likeness. He's not a fan of that and everything like that. So it's just like it irks me. It really irks me that, a person that has made a living, has created generational wealth for himself and his family, is sticking his nose up at other people trying to create some type of wealth for themselves. And I just think that, a new guard, a new way of doing things is perfectly fine. I can respect Coach K and disagree with him at the same time.
See, I disagree with that only because in our everyday jobs, I've worked with salespeople who, and let's use media as an example. We all know that the world of print has dramatically changed. I know a ton of reporters and writers who have just said, you know what, this isn't for me anymore, because it went from strictly writing to have your work printed to now you have, deadlines to not only get your stuff in for print, but you also have to get your stuff in and submitted for the online version to be put out. And now everything is digital. And not only are you now having to, write an article, now you have to do your own pictures. And now you have to also do videos. You have to sit out on the basket. I mean, there's a lot of my reporting friends who, at basketball games, they have to go out on the court or they have to sit somewhere in the stands and face the camera towards them. And some of these guys don't even know how to operate. They have flip phones and they had to go get a smartphone just to be able to do these. And because of that, they have said, you know what? I just don't like how the direction of the industry that I fell in love with is not the same today as what it was when I started. And because of that, I don't want to work in that industry anymore. That happens every time. I've worked with salespeople here in this building, it used to be strictly selling radio ads. Just get your business on the air, and digital. And now it's we're selling on air and we are selling digital, and we're selling them combined. And again, that makes a ton of want to obviously combine your advertising resources and everything. But we don't just offer on air anymore now. So I've had older salespeople that I've worked with that said, man, I've been a salesperson for 30, 40 years selling on-air spots. Now they want me to sell targeted display. They want me to, in listening to these 60 or 70-year-olds try to explain how ads are going to follow you from one website to the next and then they're getting afraid. Wait a minute. So if I go look at shoes on this website, every time I get on Facebook and everything else, those shoes are going to follow me. Like it's a scary world. We've had multiple salespeople that I love who have been around this business forever who've called it a career because the industry is different now. That's all this is. And Kev, the reason is I know we like to spin it to say these guys are disrespecting the athletes who help put them in position to be who they are, but they're not looking at it like that, because the ones that are going to be good enough to go make money are going to go make money anyways. And by the way, if you've listened to Johnny Manziel's video that he put out earlier today, the way, if you weren't a fan of him before, you may not be now. I'm actually a bigger fan of his now. I actually really wish it would have worked out in Cleveland. This dude is absolutely hilarious, but that's besides the point. My point is that I think that coaches like Coach K and Roy Williams are looking at this and saying, man, I don't want 17, 18, 19-year-old kids to make money. it's not so much about the money as is how it's going to shift the way players respond to coaching. And we all know that the second that players at any level have any kind of financial leverage over you, at that point, it's chasing the dollar versus chasing the dream. And I think that's where the lines blur. And I think over time that can shape out. And I think you'll get a good balance over time of guys chasing money while chasing what's best for them opportunity wise. But because this is so new, Kev, now it's, wow, I can get money. Kids are going to start chasing wherever the most money is right away because this is new. And there's not going to be like right now, these kids, unfortunately, the ones that are making mistakes are going to pave the way for the younger generation who are going to witness the mistakes that they make in chasing the dollar versus chasing the dream. And then there's going to be those who said, okay, I'm going to go make less money going to this school and won't have as many opportunities, but man, I got a chance to play in the Final Four. I got a chance to win a national championship. I got a chance to get an education. I think it's just going to take time. But I think this isn't a vindictive, I hate kids trying to chase financial freedom. I think it's strictly because of the financial freedom that is opening up for these kids. It is changing their approach to accepting coaching and accepting what we have been used to understanding of being a team atmosphere of no I in team, it's about we. But right now we have to start shifting how we preach to kids. We can't say there's no I in team and then at a certain point say, go do you, because we have to start teaching kids younger where I fits into team, where I fits into we. I think we do a bad job now. If this is where society's going, fine. You could either die on this hill and be the get off my lawn guy, or it's okay, what can we do to change it? I disagree with you on this too, Kevin. Here's why. Coach K could do more damage to this by staying and bitching and complaining and setting Duke back. Getting out now before he voices his opinion on it, I think is smart. I think Roy Williams and him getting out, as opposed to being that crotchety old man in the coach's office that I'm not going to do it that way. I'm not going to allow them to do this. I'm not going to let them do that. Now you become a problem, and now your career is going to end on a bad note. I think the fact that they're getting out, like Roy Williams and Coach K, the fact that we get to celebrate them leaving, I'm a huge fan of that. I'm actually happy for them that's how they're going to go out. And I hope Boeheim can end his career before any kind of big controversy pushes him out. I'd be very shocked if Calipari ends his career without controversy pushing him out. You can argue Pitino still in the game, but it's not Rick Pitino anymore, right? You know what I mean? Like, great job that he did, by the way, last year. With Iona. But like, you know what I mean? Like, he's never going to be that guy again, even no matter what success he has at Iona. He's always going to have that asterisk next to his name because it's a tarnished, blemished record. Coach K gets to go out on top, and I hope that's how a lot of these coaches get to go out on top. So
absolutely.
I don't want the Bob Knight finish for any of these guys.
Oh no, I mean that's probably the worst way to go out. But I view it in a situation where two people can disagree and it perfectly be fine. Like, he can look at it and say, like, this isn't how I want it to be anymore, and I don't want to be a part of it, and still be right and wrong at the same time, because he is about to be 70 something years old. And the game is changing, and he doesn't have, I'm not trying to wish death upon the man, but like, let's be real, man, like, doesn't have a long life ahead of him. So like, the energy that it would take to learn something new, he doesn't want to. And that is perfectly fine. And that's what we were talking about yesterday with new blood in coaching, because this game and all these games, they constantly change. And older people are automatically going to be stuck in their ways. Like, you could ask my uncle, what's the best movie you ever seen in your life? And he'll automatically say Godfather 2. And I can't argue that, because Godfather 2 is a great movie, but I could just start rattling off, Ocean's 11, a million different movies. Not better than Godfather 2, because in that time when he saw Godfather 2, when he was 13 years old, it was a masterpiece, and it ain't nothing that's going to change that. So when you get new blood in there and you get new ways of doing things, and especially you have coaches that are younger that are already having a relationship with these younger people, they're going to have an automatic feeling and an automatic feel about how to do things and working around. Just like you were talking about how, salespeople have to deal with digital and everything like that. It's nothing to us because we grew up on it. My nephew, he knows nothing, the world without a cell phone, nothing without a tablet, nothing without automatic skateboard. Like, I was like, man, I used to have a skateboard. I used to kick it with my foot. He just jumps on his hoverboard and just rolls away. Like, so the new coaches that are coming in now, 15, 20 years from now, they're going to have to get up out the paint too, because this game is going to continually evolve and change. So holding on to these coaches because we love them so much and they're so iconic to the game, yeah, we can do that. But for the betterment of everybody involved, the coaches need to change just as much as the players need to change.
Yeah, and too, look, we've seen this evolve at the pro level as well. Pat Riley was told no for the first time in his legendary 50-plus year career, and it was LeBron James that broke his heart because Pat Riley couldn't flash the rings across the table anymore. Pat Riley's fancy suits and slicked back hair and the mob-looking persona that he has. And by the way, I'm one of the biggest Pat Riley fans out there. I grew up during a time where I was as much of a fan as the coaches as I was the players on the floor. Right now, I couldn't tell you half the damn coaches in the NBA. I could tell you who they played for. Maybe once I see their name and I'll remember who they played for back in the day. But like Pat Riley has a salty feel right now with the players of today. You know, Phil Jackson would be the best coach of all time if it wasn't for the blemish stuff at the end of his career, you know, making the posse comment, which I don't think in their eyes and their world that there's any negative connotation with that word. That word is just a normal word. But again, times are changing, and sometimes you get pushed out without even realizing you're being pushed out because you haven't mentally adapted with the times or with the game. And that's unfortunate because I still don't think that should take away from the success of what Pat Riley and Phil Jackson and these others have. Coach K, same thing. But if, like, I still fully believe if Coach K came out and said, and he said today's game is a mess, and it is, but it's the portal is a mess. I think that the NCAA, I think that they're still trying to get a grasp on how to handle this as well. Coaches are finding a way to get a grasp on this as well. But this isn't just a change for Coach K. It's for everybody, even the young coaches. There's young coaches right now that don't know how to balance a roster that's changing every single year. There are guys entering the transfer portal that were happy. There's many coaches that I've talked to that said, I didn't even know that he was unhappy. Like, every coach can tell you, I guarantee you, if you pull 5 coaches aside, they can give you 2 to 3 players that they would put money on entering the transfer portal by the end of the year. Yeah, there's just not a spot for him. I don't see him wanting to come off the bench next year. I could see him leaving. There are not just those guys leaving. There are guys that average 30 minutes, 35 minutes a game, average 20 points a game, first team guys, and they're bouncing too. And it's like when you can't balance, when it's not even about playing time anymore. It's not even about being the guy anymore. Sometimes they want the same playing time and being the guy at a bigger spotlight. And it's like, you just can't win right now. So again, this isn't a crotchety old man get off my lawn adjustment. This is a, being as young at 12 as Zach Taylor trying to balance some of these younger college rosters right now. So it is where the games are changing, and I am happier to see the coaches leave on their own terms than to be pushed out. Because what happens if he sticks around, Kevin, they start losing, and they start losing on recruits because recruits don't feel the same way about Coach K as what recruits did 10 years ago. And then the last thing we remember of Coach K is missing the tournament 3 of his last 4 years in college, and that's not who he was. So going out on top the way he's doing now, I think makes a ton of sense. And hopefully Duke can get him to the tournament. They make a run. And of course, as he said today, they're not interested in making runs. They're interested in finishing. So
get that ring.
There you go.
I would say good luck to him, but I'm a Syracuse fan, so
there we go. Yeah, there you go. Matt says, Justin and Kev, you're both making great points. Coach K is one of the greatest ever. My 2 cents. He doesn't want to deal with the current climate. Great discussion. And that's what we're discussing. And I do believe that is the case. I think that is the case. So we'll see. And is it raining again? I have a tea time at 6.
I was gonna go ride my bike. I guess not.
I'm going anyway. I don't care. I'll stay up what? I'll walk. I'm in shape now. This? I mean, it's not gonna do this for the next couple. I mean, where's our weather people at?
We don't have any.
Turn on the news. They don't cover anything except weather. It's just. I mean, I don't even know why we call it the
call
news.
Back.
So yeah. All right. 4 5. Oh, I didn't even. My bad. I wasn't paying attention. My bad. I'm all over the place today. My ADD is taking over. Folks, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. We got a little over-under coming up on the other side of the break. Kev Nash brings us over-under. And then we will, of course, get back into your phone call, social media reaction as well. Schrody, David Shaw, McKinney. There's McKinney right there. So true. I thought the same thing. I think he's in response to someone else in the comment section. We'll get to all your Facebook and YouTube and social media reaction on the other side as well. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. We'll be back in just a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a high near 75. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a low near 58. And tomorrow is going to be partly cloudy, a high near 83. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces around your home, office, or commercial property. Crack filling, asphalt sealing, and parking lot striping. Find us at culletsealcoating.com.
Wendy's Frosty Chino is cold brew with frosty creamer. What does that mean? It means we took rich, smooth cold brew and then added your choice of vanilla or chocolate frosty creamer. Can you say good morning? Or better yet, Wendy's Frosty Chino? It's cold brew with frosty creamer. It's only at Wendy's and it's delicious. So ditch the stuffy coffee shop and say hasta la vista, barista. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Frosty Chino and start your morning right.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you could pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
It's so on. The SiriusXM Listen Free event is happening now. Just press the SAT button in your car to hear over 100 channels, including ad-free music of every kind, plus sports play-by-play and talk and news for everyone. Enjoy even more free when you download the SXM app. Hear expertly curated podcasts, ad-free extra channels of music for any mood, SiriusXM video, and the ability to create your own Pandora music stations. Don't miss out. Listen free now.
It's time for some straight talk. You've got real work to do, but everyone's sucking up the free Wi-Fi faster than a Mocha Choco double frap on ice. So be your own hotspot. Now with Straight Talk Wireless, get 10 gigs of hotspot data with the ultimate unlimited plan. Just $55 a month on America's largest and most dependable networks. You don't have to find a hotspot. You are the hotspot. Straight Talk Wireless.
No contract, no compromise.
Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com.
Hi, Pete Kasuji here to tell you that if you're looking for the very best selection of your favorite garden plants, we grow over 125 varieties of tomatoes, peppers, cabbage, broccoli, cucumber, okra, cantaloupe, and eggplants. And if you haven't tried our famous Neighbor Beater tomato plants, come out and pick up a few and enjoy the best taste you ever had from your garden. They taste so good, you'll wish you planted more. And remember, Neighbor Beater garden plants are sold only at our garden center at 1309 Brand Pike. So get out that shovel and start digging. It's time for gardens, bedding plants, rose bushes, vines, and ground covers, shade trees and shrubs, bird baths and fountains, and so much more. So join the green revolution and come out and see us at 1309 Brand Pike.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Who have we all had a little trouble social distancing from? Here's a clue. About 6 feet tall, has handles, and is cold inside. That's right, our refrigerators. And our waistlines have suffered. However, Skechers would like to help you get back on track with our incredible Go Walk footwear. Because once you put on Skechers Go Walks, they're so comfortable you'll be inspired to get out there and start walking. Skechers is a comfort technology company, and Go Walks are fully loaded with all the comfort and performance innovations you need. They're incredibly lightweight and breathable with features like air-cooled Goga Mat insoles and bouncy foam bottoms for extra cushioning. And Go Walk footwear come in all the fits you love, like stretch fit, wide fit, relaxed fit, and arch fit with podiatrist certified arch support. Plus, you'll look great with so many stylish options to choose from, including easy slip-ons and comfy lace-ups. And they're even machine washable. It's time you distance yourself from that fridge. Get out there and start Go Walking. Find the #1 walking footwear in the world, Skechers Go Walk, for men and women at Skechers.com, a Skechers store, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with a quick tip from H2O Wireless on stretching your budget and saving money every month. Start with your recurring monthly bills, and here's the easiest one, your cell phone bill. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile charge premium rates for unlimited data, when in all actuality, you have no need for that much data. H2O Wireless, on the other hand, is on the exact same network as one of those carriers, but charges you half. The average family of 4 is saving over $70 a month without having to sacrifice coverage. And listen to this, unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 per month. Switching is as easy as swapping out your SIM card. You can keep your phone and your phone number. Here's how to get the best deal. This month, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say get H2O for this exclusive offer and start saving today.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland & Summers. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
I don't even know why I even mentioned golf. Mother Nature heard me, and all of a sudden it's been lightning and thundering outside the studio windows. And you know how when you're a kid, they say don't stand by the windows. Here I am, head out the window, looking around. Now I want to go hold a metal object straight up in the air during a storm.
Did your parents used to say, get off the phone when it was a thunderstorm outside?
Yep, can't shower.
That was my grandmother's go-to.
You better shower,
take a
it's a
shower.
storm.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
You better
hurry up.
You get home from school, like, hey, I'm going to go to so-and-so. No, you're not. There's a storm coming. You better get in the shower now because you can't shower once the storm starts. I'm like, but see, as a kid, I was very curious. I'm like, well, what happens when you get electrocuted? Like, you know, I kind of, so I wanted to, what happens if the water is running and lightning hits that? Nothing. So, but yeah, the other one couldn't get in the pool. So, you know, couldn't get in the pool after you eat for like a half hour or something.
Yes,
like
I remember that. Me and my brother were actually just talking about that. My grandmother used to take us to Punderson Beach up there in Northeast Ohio, and she had a blue Chevy Nova. And I was like about 6-7 years old, so I'm tiny. And she had leather seats. And, you know, this is in the 80s. So we'd be at the beach all day. I'm talking like from like 1 to like 6. And we would jump back in the car and those leather seats would burn my little legs so bad. And my brother would laugh at me. And like you could see the heat just waving in the car, man. Oh my goodness. I gotta call my grandmother today.
I lived in El Paso and like it's hot here, but like in El Paso, everyone has those little visor things that you like, either you fold them up. They look like windshield covers and you put them in the inside of your dash or whatever. So it covers because that's how hot it gets. And of course, you know, crime in El Paso is through the roof too. So everyone had one of those little things you put in your steering wheel and then you lock it. Oh yeah. I always thought that thing was cool.
So my mom had a club on her. What did she have? What kind of garden? She had a topaz. She had a red topaz.
Yeah, I remember getting in the van with my grandparents. My grandpa would sit down, get all comfortable, get his, you know, seatbelt on. Then he would unlatch it. Then he'd crinkle up the little thing, and he'd get the mirrors on.
Actually work?
I mean, it takes the direct sun from just. I mean, you're talking about your dashboard, leather seats, any seats. Everything's just scalding hot when you get. But it's no different than heat here. But in Texas, you know, I don't know. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Hanging out with you here on a rainy and thunderstormy Thursday. Kinner's still hoping to get out on the golf course following the show.
Don't hold your breath.
I am. Alex Sogard, Wright State baseball coach, will join us coming up a half hour from now, 4 o'clock. The Raiders are in the Knoxville Regional in the NCAA championships after, of course, winning the league for the 4th time in the last 6 years. And they, you know, everyone I've talked to, I mean, this roster's freaking loaded. They're going to be sending a ton of guys in the draft, and Major League Baseball's draft coming up just under a month from now. So it's going to be a fun little stretch of days and hopefully weeks when it comes to Wright State here in the coming weeks and months and days and all that fun stuff. So before we get to Kev Nash bringing you our over-under, let's go to the phones, 457-9464. We got the SEC commissioner. We got McKinney. McKinney, how are you, sir?
Tremendous, my friend. Rain, go away. Come again for 3 more days.
There you go. That's exactly. At least so Kenner can get on the golf course and then still hate why. Then I get on the golf course. I can't wait. And then by the time I get to the second hole, I'm like, why did I pay to do this? Why do I continue to waste money to do something I'm so bad at? But anyways,
because it's the joy of the game.
Do you golf?
The love of the game.
Do you golf?
Yes.
Oh, we will have to get out on the golf course sometime, my friend. If you could stand dealing with me for a couple hours.
Oh man, what a foursome! Me, Kenner, McKinney, and
who? The true American? I don't know who you're. Who?
Your buddy.
I have a lot of buddies. Oh, Shaw. There we go. All right, McKinney, what you got for us, man?
Well, I'm going to hit on a couple things. First, I'll hit on you. I like to welcome to the Old Man Get Off My Lawn Club. Your card will be with your AARP in the mail.
I don't have to apply for it. It just comes, huh?
No, man. When you make statements like that, there's the gods of email come and find you. It's like as soon as you turn 49 and a half, AARP, even if you've been in witness protection, they will be able to find you, track you down, and get money from you. That's the way they do.
Exactly. Hold on. Which comment exactly did I earn my get off my lawn card?
Well, you were talking about time for changes and new things are happening, and like with Coach K, I agree with your boy Sean. Coach K should have let Tommy Amaker or somebody else take this gig like 4 years ago. So after that, I was through with Duke, because there comes a time where you're at work and all of a sudden some new young guys come along and you go, man, they don't know anything about anything. And you realize that you're in that change. I remember when I first got into sales, guys were to sell cars and appliances. Guys were middle-aged. And now you got guys that out of high school, out of technical school, and they're ready to take over the big job and work commission jobs. But it just comes at time. Coach K had to go, and it's the same thing with Danny Ainge in Boston. It was his time. I would rather have a mind like that in the front office than have him burn out as a coach, because the room had decided that they had heard all that they wanted to hear from Brad Stevens. They didn't want to hear anymore. He was absolutely done. But to have a basketball mind like that at that age, you figure there's 30 years difference between Brad Stevens and Coach K. So you don't want 80, 85-year-old people trying to give a fresh idea to your program. That's why these coaches don't understand the transfer portal, because the one thing that they don't understand, when you were begging that kid to come to your school and you were sitting on their couch drinking Country Time lemonade and you said how wonderful it would be, and then you never have a conversation with that guy until you find out that he's in the transfer portal, what you as a coach were doing not to make sure that that person wasn't happy. These coaches 90% of the time are blindsided that these players are unhappy. That shows what out of touch they are, or how delegate they do to other people, and when they need to find out what's going on in their own program.
McKinney, let me jump in there. Jump in there. I'll defend the coaches on this point. And part of this is an NCAA rule or mishap. Coaches are not allowed to have contact with their players outside the season. That is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, like they're under your umbrella. Like, I can see other coaches not being able to talk to you, but your coaches.
So from when, like, the basketball players, like, we got UD guys showing up in Dayton now. It's June. Yeah. Technically, they're not supposed to have direct contact with the head coach until the season starts. The season in preseason practice doesn't start till October. So you mean you got dudes you're recruiting all this time that you're not supposed to have daily contact with for months. And then when your season ends in March or in April, you're not supposed to have contact with them again until like a little brief period in like July or whatever, and then again until the season starts. So that is an NCAA flaw. I think that the NCAA needs to look at that. I mean, imagine thinking about that with football players. I mean, there's 85 scholarship players on a football team versus, 12 to 15 on a basketball team. So I understand that assistant coaches and strength and conditioning coaches, they can have constant contact with the student athletes and like that. But there's no reason that the coach should be blindsided. That's an NCAA flaw. The coaches should be able to have player meetings whenever that bleep they want. They decide, hey, man, maybe you can't have a mandatory practice, but hey, man, let's have a popcorn night at my house. Just a rapport with your players. Hey, I heard you guys are having open gym. I'm going to swing by just to hang out with my guys, or take your team to the movies outside of the season. Like, that type of stuff builds camaraderie. And it also, like, when you're a player, you can actually get to know the coach outside of him yelling at you in practice. You can see, like, oh, man, he's a family guy. Oh, man, coach had us over at the house for a barbecue on the 4th of July. Like, those type of things go a long way. So if a player says, hey, man, I don't like it here no more, they won't feel the need to kind of go behind the coach's back and just go straight to the SID, like, yeah, put my name in the portal, I'm out of here. Maybe they will have that inkling to say, hey, coach, it just ain't working out for me here, man. I respect you as a man, but I just don't like it here no more. And maybe that can mend some of the fences. So I will defend the coaches on that part. It's not their fault that they can't communicate with their players outside of the season. That's the NCAA's fault.
Yeah, but you see what I mean by if you feel ignored, it's like having a girlfriend, and you say, I'll talk to you maybe every 18, 19 days, and once you want to break up with me, then we'll have a conversation. You can't do that as a coach. Right. You have to be in constant contact to find out where's the head at of my player. Like with my boy Anthony Street Clothes Davis. He makes all that money, and he doesn't think it's worth $1 million the way LeBron, Russell Wilson, all these athletes put money into trainers, strength and conditioning people, masseuses, stretching, learning how to do it. You don't come to camp out of shape and they're going to play your way in shape. And that's what Street Clothes did. Now he's hurt. Now he's got this reputation of being fragile. That's because he won't work out. You have to work out to be a professional athlete. You don't have to put it in a clause. You don't have to make a notation, a footnote. Come in, show up, do your job. Be a professional. That's all we want. So we can root for you, not root against you. I don't want to root against people. I want to root for people.
All right.
So
McKinney,
and right now there's thunders out here, and I'm standing in my yard on a cordless phone, and Big Mama said that I could get electrocuted. So I'm going to go in here, get me a peach and treat, and sit down. Guys, have a great afternoon.
All right, just make sure you don't swim for at least a half hour, though. All right, good stuff. 457-9464. That's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. But you're right, from that standpoint of the lack of community, I've never understand why. I understand why, as a maybe coaches can't talk to recruits, can't talk to other players, but to not be able to talk to your own players, that's kind of
very weird.
That's creating a lot of opportunity, for, I don't know.
But let one of those players get in trouble, and then everybody in the media directly looks at the coach like, what type of program are you running? Man, I ain't seen this dude since the spring game. Like, that's really what happens, man. But I did want to ask you about this. So we got Tommy Amaker. He's the head coach at Harvard. Johnny Dawkins, head coach at Central Florida. Jeff Capel, head coach at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I bet he regrets taking that Pitt job, by the
way. Nate Jones, head coach at Austin Peay. Chris Collins, head coach at Northwestern. Bobby Hurley, head coach at Arizona State. And, of course, Mike Bree, the head coach at Notre Dame. All guys that come from the Mike, I almost tried to say his name.
Mike Krzyzewski.
Yeah. You're better than me. Coach K's umbrella. Do you have a problem with him not picking one of these guys that already has experience?
No, because I think that, and Coach K brought this up today and during the conference, where he said the one reason, too, that he was adamant about naming a coach now is because right now Shire has a lot of the main communication with a lot of the recruits that they have. I mean, when you're Coach K, when you're Roy Williams, when you're Boeheim, and when you're coaches, you're not a seller, you're a closer.
Right.
The sellers are, I can't say his name, but I can say Krzyzewski. Makes no damn sense. Shire, whatever. He's the one so he has a relationship with all the recruits for these future classes. And it's just one of those and it's just like the Ryan Day thing. I mean, I thought that it was strange. Like, I kind of with you a tad, because I remember when they named Ryan Day right away, I'm like, why would they not open this up? Why would they not at least see who was out there that would come in to take this job? Because I thought that Ohio State was gambling on giving a job to an individual who's never been a head coach before. And I just don't feel like Ohio State's the kind of program that you can gamble giving to somebody that being their first head coaching job. Now, I was a million times wrong. I have no problem admitting that. And I'm glad that I'm wrong, because he has kicked ass since taking over for Urban Meyer. But it made sense because the recruiting class was intact with him being a part of the major sell. And Ryan Day keeping that class intact was because, he was the guy that was in communication with these guys, even more so than Urban. And I think that that's what's going on here with Duke. If Duke was a failing and floundering program, and that's what's leading him to step away, then I would be on your side and say, okay, they needed to kind of hit a reset button just a tad here. But Duke's not failing. The only thing I disagreed with McKinney on, and it's not just him, there's a lot of people I saw on social media, Coach K should have hung it up 5 years ago.
No.
Did
they win a championship like 5 years
They
ago?
won back in 2015. Yeah, and so 2015 they won it. Since 2015, they won 25 games, 28 games, 29 games, 32 games, 25. Yes, they went 13-11 during a pandemic. So to me, there is no sign. Like, Coach K is not even slowing down. They have the number 4 recruiting class in the country this year. They're in the top 3 next year's class already, and we haven't even gotten to the heavy part of the recruiting for that. In fact, the dead period just ended, so recruiting is going to pick up again. So I have a huge problem with people saying that Coach K should have hung it up years ago. He's not even hanging it up because he's bad now. He could probably coach another 5 years and still be a top 5 recruiting class every year and still have a chance to win the ACC every year and still have a chance to get to the Final Four and win a national title every year. So that's what's weird to me.
Yeah, I like the John Shire pick. Like, he's 33 years old. Like, he was on the last national championship, well, not the last one. He was on the national championship team, and on the staff is Nolan Smith, who was also a backcourt teammate of his on the national championship team.
Greg Paulus is another name.
Yeah, he was
at Ohio State for a bit. He's been floating around for a while.
So,
I like Greg Paulus.
Like I was talking about, young blood, new blood. Like, I'm cool with this. I have no problem with this. I started thinking about it. I was like, hold on, man. I know Tommy Amaker's been coaching for a while. Johnny Dawkins been coaching a while. And I started thinking, like, man, he's got a lot of former players that are head coaches now. And, like, he goes and, handpicks the youngest one of them all, to be a head coach. So if Coach K sees something in him, I believe there'll be just fine. Because, like you said, he's been like one of the main contacts for the current class and guys that are already on the team. So, he has a relationship with those guys already, and you want to keep this train rolling and keep the Duke legacy going. So I have absolutely no problem with it.
And that was one reason why when Urban left Ohio State, it was very important to keep, Ryan Day as the guy, because if Urban Meyer at the end of that season said, okay, after the Rose Bowl, I'm done, and then Gene Smith comes out and says, well, we're going to start doing a national coaching search the day, we'll begin that the day after the Rose Bowl. You know how many recruits are going to decommit from Ohio State at that time? And not in a negative, it wouldn't be a bad way. They would just say, hey,
I don't know who I'm
we want to reopen up our commitment, or we want to reopen up our recruitment so we can, at least have a chance to know who the coach is and have a chance to talk with them. And if not, we may not fit into that coach's system. We may not fit into that offensive scheme if we don't even know who the offensive coordinator is going to be. So that's one reason why keeping Ryan Day made sense, because although Urban was leaving, there was still a sense of familiarity with Ryan Day already. And the same thing here with Duke. I have no problem with it. David Shaw says, I have a problem. I have a serious problem with it. No way Shire is ready for this, just my opinion. Why don't you think he's ready? I said the same thing about Ryan Day. I said the same thing about Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. There was many people that thought the same thing about Juwan Howard, and I think that he has done an amazing job. Everyone thought that the dude out at Memphis and Hardaway was going to fail. Him and you could argue him and Juwan Howard have just done an amazing kick-ass job since taking over being first-time head coaches with their respective programs. So my mind has shifted in its thinking on this, thinking that, inexperience means you're going to be bad. It's not about experience, because basketball. Right. It's about relationships and being able to teach. And Krzyzewski, he's not putting his neck on the line, pushing this guy to be the guy. Roy Williams named his next guy up. Krzyzewski's doing the same thing. Urban did it at Ohio State. We saw Stoops do it at Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley. And there was talks of when Nick Saban's time is up in Alabama, Steve Sarkisian was rumored to be the guy before. And who was the guy, the sketch ball before that they were rumored to? He's the Lane Kiffin. And Josh McDaniels, I always say in the NFL, Josh McDaniels is like the Lane Kiffin of the National Football League. Like I always get that vibe. But no, this happens all the time. I don't have a problem with it. We'll see. I think it'll work.
Either.
We're going to find out, though. Was it the Duke brand or was it Coach K? What was the big selling point out on the recruiting trail? We're going to find out. Because Ohio State, we knew Ohio State's brand was big no matter what. It was, so it's about what you do with it. Is Duke's brand bigger than Coach K? Coach K might be the only coach I could think of that is bigger than the brand of the school that they're at, but that could be put to rest here very quickly if Shire kind of keeps it rolling.
I think he will. I will say this. He's going to have a little difficult time because it's not the same thing as Juwan Howard coming from the NBA back to his alma mater in Michigan. He was already on the coaching staff. So his relationship with the guys.
Was Juwan on the coaching staff? I thought he was in the NBA.
Yeah, he was in the NBA.
Okay.
Talking about Shire.
Like Mike Woodson going to Indiana right now. Okay.
Yeah, so Shire being one seat over.
Yeah, my bad. That's where I was confused. Okay.
So Shire being one seat over, his relationship with the guys may have been more cool, may have been more buddy, like, hey, don't worry about what coach said. Look, we're going to do it like this, talk in his ear, calm him down, relax. But now he's going to be in that other seat where he's going to have to be, quote unquote, the bad cop as opposed to the good cop. So, Nolan Smith, his assistant coach, he's probably going to have to be the good cop now while Shire turns into the bad cop at practice and everything like that. So that's something that he's going to have to juggle with the guys that are already on the team. Now, the guys that are coming in, he can be bad cop all day. They don't know him like that anyway. But, the guys he was good cop with, there will be an adjustment, no doubt about it. But he knows the rivalry of the North Carolina game. He knows the ACC. He's been there. Like, he had a cup of coffee overseas and came straight to Duke and was learning under Coach K for many years. I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, keep in mind, too, the ACC, very good basketball conference, but now's the time to make a transition. It's not like Roy Williams and Coach K and Boeheim have those three programs, and even if Pitino was still at Louisville, imagine if those four coaches and those four teams were all peaking at was 5 years ago.
Right, exactly.
Louisville, Syracuse, North Carolina, Duke, they were all at the top of their games. So if one of those coaches decided to step away, they would leave their program in bad shape because now you're bringing in an inexperienced coach to go up against Roy Williams and Pitino and his strip clubs on the recruiting trail. You know what I mean? Like, so now you got a new coach at North Carolina. Syracuse isn't Syracuse of 3 or 4 years ago as they're trying to kind of battle back up. And then Louisville, they're not, they're dealing with some issues right now, being sued they're not being sued. I forgot what's going on with Mac and the program that they have going on over there. But the bottom line is, this is the time if you're going to make a transition. I think Shire's set up to succeed right away because of all the brands. Duke is stronger than Syracuse. Duke is stronger than North Carolina. Duke's the strongest brand of them all. So if any program of all those programs could handle a coaching transition, I think Duke's set up for more success than any of them. North Carolina will be fine too.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep it real, man. Them dudes weren't going to coach forever. Like, that just is what it is, man. Like, we get so used to seeing them and seeing their face on TV all the time. We just expect them to be there all the time, man. Dude got a wife. Dude got grandkids. You want to kick back and spend some of his millions.
Yeah, Keith Tolliver says the intro music for Coach K and the clapping was just bad. What was the song? I could hear it in my head. I don't know the name of it, and I'm definitely not going to sing it. Oh, maybe we'll find it. We'll find it during this little pause in the action. So we're pushing some things back now. I just texted Coach Sogard. We're going to move him back to 4:20, and at 4 o'clock we'll do our over/under. So that's coming up on the other side. So again, reshuffling some things, but that was a fast first hour. Appreciate the calls and the interaction on social media. Overall, interesting press conference for Coach K nonetheless, and I'm pulling for him. I know you're not. Well, you're not. You're pulling for him, but not Duke. That both could be true at the same time. We're gonna get that song that Keith Tolliver's talking about. If you haven't watched it, it's absolutely hilarious. If you go watch as he's walking into the press conference, and then I don't know, there wasn't a lot of people in there. Everyone was still socially distanced. Everyone was standing up and clapping to this weird, creepy clap along song, and I don't know. We'll be back. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine, next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
I can't take this
I have
anymore.
nowhere to go. I lost my job.
I feel alone.
Crisis Text Line is here to help day or night. Text 4HOPE to 741-741 for free and confidential support. Text with a trained volunteer to move from that hot moment to a cool calm.
Just like your favorite hometown baseball team, your Enterprise Roofing team is all about protecting home. We've been locally owned and operated since 1926. So, for high-quality roofing repair and replacement services you can count on down the stretch, call 937-240-2206 or visit roofup.com today. Enterprise Roofing is a proud supporter of the Cincinnati Reds.
This is attorney Blake Maislin, 444-4444, and I'm here with Lamar Drake to help support the Don't Stop the Music concert series. Music education in our local public schools is that important.
Yes, we want to see you at the Montgomery County Fairground, Thursday, June 24th, featuring Justin Lee Schultz and the JLS Experience. Special guests, we have Brian Beham Hamilton, with LYD featuring Yolanda. Also, saxophone extraordinaire, Mr. Hal Million.
So we hope to see you at June 24th. Gates open at 5 p.m. And come early because the $444 cash giveaways begin at 6. For ticket information, call 444-4444 or it's just $10 at the door.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
O'Reilly. O'Reilly Auto Parts is here to keep your car on the road with the right parts, advice from our parts professionals, and our free loaner tool program. Your local store has more than 80 specialty tools available for your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and ask about our free loaner tool program or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game, and now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course, we can help you find the right oil for your next change. We've got what your car's engine needs. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $28.99. And you can get it all fast your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery. Getting your job done just got easier. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Because it's my vision, I take the most studied eye vitamin brand.
Because it's my vision, I take the eye vitamin brand backed by 20 years of research.
Because it's my vision, I take PreserVision. Age-related macular degeneration is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. That's why the National Eye Institute did 20 years of clinical studies on the formula that's found in PreserVision. From the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb, PreserVision AREDS 2 formula eye vitamins contain the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Because it's my vision, I made a plan with my doctor that includes PreserVision. Find PreserVision in the vitamin aisle and look for savings on PreserVision AREDS 2 in your local paper. Available at Walmart.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Save today on everything for your home with 11% off everything. Right now at Menards. Menards has a great selection of screws and fasteners from top brands like GripFast. We carry everything to help you take your projects from start to finish. Save today with 11% off on all GripFast screws and fasteners. Good through Saturday, June 5th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever has been extended for a limited time. Shop and save up to $500 on top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches, weakness, or discomfort in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 selling nerve care company. Nervive contains alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, and B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live your life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
At Napa, when it comes to serving you, our motor never quits. And when it comes to getting you the part you need when you need it, with next day delivery or same day pickup, our motor never quits. And when it comes to making a difference in our local communities by hosting fundraisers and food drives, our motor never quits. And when it comes to telling you our motor never quits, yep, you guessed it. Our motor never quits. That's Napa know-how. Same day pickup and next day delivery available at participating stores and on in-stock items only.
Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever has been extended for a limited time. Shop and save up to $500 on top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
It's time you did something about those ugly glasses and old contacts. Get your best vision with Dr. Patrick Spencer of iWorks Laser and Vision Center. Call 937-226-7870 for $1,000 off. All laser LASIK surgery from the doctor trusted by the UD Flyers and Dayton Dragons. Start seeing your best with 100% blade-free LASIK. Schedule an appointment today. Call 937-226-7870 or visit iWorksLVC.com because at iWorks, it's about seeing your best.
If you are push mowing your yard using an inefficient lawn tractor, or your current zero turn spends more time in the shop than mowing your grass, it's time you look at the Hustler Zero Turn Lawnmower. Residential mowers from Hustler are built like tanks and drive like sports cars. All Hustler mowers have fabricated welded steel decks. Don't settle on cheap units with flimsy stamped decks from big box stores. See Small Engine Service Pros and we'll guide you to the right mower for your property and your budget. 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, Route 235 in New Carlisle.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland & Summers. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland & Summers.
Yeah, I'm about to cancel that tea time. It was wishful thinking. I went out to grab a coffee a little bit ago, right there. The sun was out. So I texted some buddies. I'm like, hey, we might be able to sneak around a 9 in tonight when I get off work. And from that point on, once we called and actually got the tea time, from that point on, I mean, there's lightning, thunder, everything else. So just kind of go with the flow. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here. Hour number 2. I found this story interesting. A lot of college basketball talk lately, of course, with the announcement of Coach Krzyzewski calling it a career after this upcoming season for the Duke Blue Devils. But how about Coach Beilein, former Michigan coach? Went to the NBA for a little bit, and that didn't work out. And all that, he is now the player development. He's now he accepted a player development role with the Pistons. I thought for sure he was doing some of the CBS, or he was doing some of the March Madness coverage, doing a couple of those analyst shows. I thought for sure he'd be back on the sideline in college somewhere. He may not go back to college.
Man, he was a great coach at Michigan, man.
I think he really wants
West Virginia.
I think he really wants the NBA thing to work somehow, some way, some kind of, whether it's, and by the way, it would not surprise me to see more teams do. I think Coach K is too big of a name. You won't see him go to the NBA, especially after all these years, not to be a head coach. But I think it's smart for some of these pro teams to have maybe former college coaches on their player development staff for this very reason right here, especially for rebuilding teams like the Pistons, who always seem to be rebuilding. But imagine like when the Pistons drafted Luke Kennard, imagine Luke Kennard, his first couple years in the league, having a guy like John Beilein to be able to assist you as one of the player development coaches. You know what I mean? Like that's a great bridge between, as far as him being a great bridge gap right there to be able to kind of meet the players coming out of college and to kind of help prepare them from what they've learned in college and kind of fix it into what they're doing at the pro level. I think that makes a lot of sense. But I like Beilein. I hate Beilein because I like Beilein because Beilein made me do something I hate, and Juwan Howard's doing the same thing. I don't want to root for Michigan in anything. But I liked Beilein so much that I found myself pulling for his team to have success so that he could have success. But I was never pulling for Michigan. You can twist the words all you want. Now I'm doing the same thing with Juwan Howard. I'm a huge Juwan Howard fan, and I love the job that he did last year, and very good recruiter as well.
Yeah, Beilein, he had a great run at West Virginia and obviously a fantastic run at Michigan, and he has a connection with the GM at Detroit, the Detroit Pistons, and Troy Weaver, so from their New York days and everything like that. So I think this will be a good role for him, to continue.
Who's at Detroit right now? Who's the head coach right now?
Oh man, you asked me way too fast.
No, you're fine. I'll just you keep finishing your point that I interrupted you on.
But no, they have a connection from like Lemoyne, and Lemoyne is like 5 minutes away from Syracuse. Troy Weaver used to be an assistant coach at Syracuse, so they have a connection there and everything like that. So I think this is something good for Coach Beilein to still be involved with the game and everything like that, because everything that happened when his tenure with the Cavs was just horrible. The team was bad. He had the slugs or thugs comment that just went left and everything like that. So I think this is a way for him to continue to do what he loves, which is being involved with basketball.
Yeah, Dwayne Casey, by the way.
There you go.
I'm a Dwayne Casey fan, but I will say this. Beilein in that organization, if I'm Dwayne Casey, I'm not a big fan of Beilein because I think Beilein has always made sense to be the Pistons head coach at some point. I think Casey's right. If Casey gets fired, it's not because he's not a good coach. It's because that roster is just not very good. And I think if Beilein creates any kind of connection with these players, I think that he could be the coach in waiting for the Pistons. I'd rather see Beilein back in college. But I think that he's also realizing, hey, I get these players. I don't have to go recruit players. Sure, the roster might change slightly next year, but that's for the GM to go chase players. I'm just going to be sitting here waiting for what players they send me versus me having to go chase the players that I could bring in that then do what I'm doing now.
Hard to win games when you got 1.5 players. They only got Jeremy Grant. That's the only good player that the Pistons have right now. So good luck to him.
Kev Nash brings us over under.
Kev Nash brings you over under.
All right, Kev, kick us off. Over under NBA playoffs, I'm sure. A big chunk of this. What we got to lead things off?
All right, number one, special to my heart. Dame Lillard, after going for 55 points and playing 51 minutes in a Game 5 loss to the Denver Nuggets 2 days ago. Over or under 35 points in this winner-go-home situation versus the Nuggets tonight for Dame Lillard.
What's he averaging?
He's averaging 35.
I think it's going to take – I'm going to say over because they're fighting for their playoff lives right now. Look, we saw one of the instant classics the other night. I mean, multiple game-winning shots. Just played over 50 minutes. Scored over 50 points. Did absolutely everything he could for Portland. They still came up short. I poked fun at it yesterday. I've never seen a player get praised more for scoring 50 plus in a game that they lost. And I only say that because we do nothing but rip Russell Westbrook for averaging a triple-double for 4 years and not winning. But Dame Lillard scores 55 in a loss, and everyone lost their mind yesterday. But that was more because it had a very Kobe LeBron clutch type feel where you just knew the second that ball was in his hand, everything was just going to drop. It was just going to drop. So it is what it is at this point. But no, I'm going to say over just because, that's the only chance they have of winning. They're not going to win with him scoring under 30. So he's going to have to score over 35 for them to have a shot. Our picks have been so bad lately. I didn't realize how little I know about sports until we started doing these over-unders. And I'm like, I know absolutely nothing about sports. And I think that's the first time our listeners have agreed with anything I've said. So I'm going to say the over because, well, he has to.
I'm going to go with the under. I'm going to go with the under for this reason and this reason alone. Hey, Hall of Famer, Carmelo Anthony, I'm talking to you. Maybe you can hit a shot. Hey, CJ McCullough, I love you. You're from Ohio. How about you don't walk out of bounds? Hey, Robert Covington, you went to Tennessee State. How about you don't miss 2 wide open dunks? Like, their plays were there to be made for them tons in overtime. Like, he set up dimes for y'all to hit down wide open shots. Y'all bricked them. So I'll rewind to the Saturday game where Dame was absolutely horrible, but everybody on the outside hit shots. Everybody else played their role and picked him up. So you know what? It's y'all turn to pick him up and carry the team to a victory. And then in game 7, maybe he can do some crazy magic again, and we can be talking about it in a victory. But I'm going to go with the under, but they still win, even if he doesn't score 35 points. I'm going to go with the under.
My problem with, and again, it sounds like I'm just calling for why does Dame get a break when it comes to media coverage of him? Like, he reminds me, he's the Aaron Rodgers of the NBA, Kev, not the attitude. That's disrespectful to Dame to say his attitude's like Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers, they're good enough to win 10, 12 games every single year. They're good enough to get to the NFC title game every year. They're good enough to do all this. They're good enough to have the number 1 receiver in the league, good enough to have one of the best run games, best offensive lines, best defensive. And then when they lose, we focus on, well, they just don't help them enough. They don't help them enough. I feel like we do the same thing with Dame Lillard, where we talk about, oh, look at all they win. They're 40, 50 plus wins every single season. They make these deep playoff runs. But then whenever they fall up short, we sit there and we point the finger at everybody else. But guys like Russell Westbrook, who average a triple-double, and they're literally just as good, if not more talented, not more, I don't know how to word that. They're just as big of a star. But it's like he's not likable. Dame's likable. Russell Westbrook is not. And I feel like we sit there and same thing with LeBron right now. LeBron doesn't have AD. Literally had Schroeder, who wanted $100+ million in that contract. He scored a goose egg. Buddy. I didn't hear one person defend LeBron and say, well, he didn't get any help in that game. They just said, oh, come on, King. What's going on, King? Come on, King. Come on, champ. You got to. So it's frustrating. Aaron Rodgers gets a pass. I'm not calling for Dame's head. I guess I'm just curious, why does he get a pass? Why do we not hold him to the same accountability that we do others? Because if he truly is a superstar, which he is, we put the expectations on Russ and everyone else that they need to elevate everyone around him. Well, kind of the same thing needs to be said about him. I don't think they win this series. Obviously, the team they're going up against is the better team. He's a very good player. I don't know. Stars aren't going to come to Portland, but Portland, you got to go trade for them. Say what you, but people don't go to Boston, but Boston trades for them. They get stars to come to. You got Carmelo Anthony. Great. Why didn't you get him 10 years ago? Okay. That's what I'm saying. Well, Dame wasn't here 10 years ago, but there you go. Next up.
All right. Number 2, the New York Knicks season came to an end last night at home by the hands of the Hawks. Over or under 0.5 games played for Obi Toppin with the Knicks.
First of all, last night watching the Knicks play at home with their black jerseys ticked me off. When you're playing at the Garden, you wear your white jerseys. When you're playing at the Staples Center, you wear your yellow jerseys. When you're playing, can we stop doing this jersey swap crap? It's driving me nuts. To your point that I made, about me earlier. But this is an interesting one right now. I've heard Obi Toppin. If I had to give him a grade for his rookie season, I'd give him a B. I don't think he didn't get playing time because he wasn't good. For one, there's the whole Tibbs doesn't like to play rookies thing. Although I kind of combated that with, well, then why did Quickly average 20+ minutes a game? Obi averaged 11. But the big thing is I keep hearing as well, Julius Randle's why Obi didn't get more playing time. Well, Julius Randle's not going anywhere. So if Julius Randle's why he didn't get playing time this year, who's to say that Obi will get playing time next year? The Knicks are ahead of schedule. They started winning ahead of schedule. I think that this turned around quicker than anyone had anticipated. I think Obi is one of those players that he did not scare anyone off. I don't think that Obi played bad. I think that he was efficient in the limited amount of time that he was given on the floor night in and night out. I think under, Kev. I don't think Obi Toppin plays another game with the Knicks.
Wow.
Mainly because the Knicks aren't disappointed in him. I don't think they dislike Obi. I just think that right now They're ahead of schedule. They've improved their brand a little bit. There's not a whole lot of negative headlines for them this year after everything that happened in the last couple of seasons. I think they're hungry to win and win now. I think they're going to get the contract taken care of for Julius Randle, and I think that they're going to be packaging some guys to go and trade to get a star, whoever that is. But I think Obi's going to be a part of that. It's no disrespect to Obi. It's not like he's bad with the Knicks, but I don't want to hear Obi didn't play because of Julius Randle. Randle's not going anywhere. So if Randle's not going anywhere, then Obi's playing time's not going anywhere either, other than where it was this past season. So I think it would be best for Obi and for the Knicks if they both just parted ways. Obi is a very good asset that I think if put in the right situation, I think he could flourish. So I'm going to say under. I don't think Obi plays another game for the Knicks, and I'm not hating on him. I'm not. I literally am defending him here. I think it would be best for him to be traded because that's all we've heard. Oh, Julius Randle. That's why he's not playing. Well, Julius Randle's going nowhere, so let's get Obi out of there. I think he's too good, too athletic, and too much of an Energizer bunny to be kept on the bench and to only be brought in for 10 to 11 minutes at a time. So I'm going to say the under, and I think it's best for both sides if that's the case.
I'm going to go with the over. I'm going to say that Obi is going to work on his game even more, just like we saw him in between his freshman and sophomore year here at UD. He's going to expand that jump shot more. He's going to be able to put the ball on the ground more. And next year, I believe they're going to be able to play him and Julius Randle at the same time because Obi's going to expand his game. So I'm going to go with the over.
Who's Obi's going to take minutes from?
He's going to take minutes from the old man on the team. Drawing a blank on his name.
I know you're from the Bulls, the former player from the Bulls that Tibbs was there. I could literally see it. See, I don't think that guy played bad, and I think that Tibbs likes him. I think he likes the veteran player. I don't think that dude's going anywhere, so that's why I just don't see it in the cards early.
Gibson,
Taj Gibson.
Yeah.
So one more time, I'm not hating on Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin did not get minutes this year, or they did not play him because he's bad. He just didn't fit into the lineup of guys that they had, which is why a lot of people question why the Knicks took Obi to begin with, because it just didn't make sense for the style of play that he was. They actually initially released Taj Gibson. They released a bunch of their bigs, remember? And then they brought a bunch of bigs back, and it just didn't make any. Bringing Taj Gibson back made zero sense. That was kind of the nail in the coffin as far as any opportunity for minutes growth for Obi Toppin. I would love to see him be traded elsewhere to get an opportunity to get more minutes. I think you give Obi 20, 25 minutes a game, you're going to be looking at a guy that could average anywhere between 15 to 20 a game. I just worry about the defense, but you know what? It's the NBA. Every team in the league averages over 100 points a game. Just don't preach to me about defense in the NBA. Next up.
All right, number 3. Oh, man. LeBron James and Los Angeles Lakers face elimination tonight versus Suns. Big game for the King. 0.5 games left for the Lakers this season.
Over under. Oh, yeah. I see. So over under 0.5 games for LeBron. I think I said the other night they're going to win, and they lost by 30. LeBron's never lost a first-round playoff series. And again, I'm falling in the trap that I get mad at everyone else for. This isn't LeBron's teams have never lost a first-round playoff series. And I think that they are dangerously approaching that. It's taken 18 seasons for it to happen, and I think there's a good chance that it can. But I'm going to remain optimistic. I think that the Lakers played the worst thing that could have happened for the Suns was kicking the Lakers' ass the way that they did, because I don't see the Lakers playing like that again. And I don't think LeBron's going to let them play like that again. LeBron should not have let them play like that to begin with, but at the same time, I've always said, if you're a professional basketball player and you need someone else to motivate you to play hard in the playoffs, then you're not a professional athlete. Get the hell out of here. I don't think that's going to be the case tonight. I think it's going to be a close game. I think that the Lakers win a close game. They're not going to blow out the Suns. And we'll find out just how severe Chris Paul's shoulder injury was, because no one called him out for being a drama queen. No one called him out for literally acting as if his arm had literally fallen off, and then out of nowhere jumps up like he's Shawn Michaels, does that weird leaping thing, and then he's just walking up and down the side. Then he realized, I was a drama queen, and he goes and apologizes because he got super mad, by the way. That dude didn't do anything. He boxed. That's exactly what you were supposed to do. Chris Paul, man, he's a pain in the ass as well. So I'm going to say Lakers win tonight.
You back to not liking him?
No, I see how good. This is the first. It shouldn't take it this long for me, but the dude's super valuable. But very similar to AD. No one's questioned how good they are or how valuable they are, but it's the durability issues that have plagued them from the beginning of both of their careers. The thing for the Lakers, they still have LeBron. do the Suns have enough firepower without Chris Paul to get it done? Even without AD, I don't think this Suns team is good enough without Chris Paul to beat the Lakers and LeBron James. I'm saying the Lakers win a close one tonight. They're at the Staples Center on top of it, and they just got their ass kicked by 30. They're going to come out, play motivated basketball. There's no way they get blown out again.
Ooh, this is tough for me because the biggest thing for me, there's no question in my mind that LeBron's going to come out and play some great basketball tonight. We're going to get a great performance, even though I said that last time. But the problem isn't necessarily the offense. It's the fact that AD isn't there on defense. Like, everybody saw it, man. It is a layup line. Like, there's no deterrent on that pick and roll. And Anthony Davis is one of the best pick and roll defenders in the NBA. And Drummond is not. Marc Gasol is not. So if Chris Paul is, I say right now, he's playing probably like at 75%. If Chris Paul is still playing at 75% and there's no AD, what's going to stop it? What's going to change the pick and roll from continually getting in the paint and kicking out the open shooters? With that said, I'm going to still put my faith in LeBron James and say he pushes them to a game 7. So I'm going to go with the over.
Now, when you talk about that, I mean, the last time the Lakers and the Suns played too, and again, it was 115-85, the final.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Lakers held the Suns. I mean, I can't believe it. They held them to 115 points. They didn't play that way. Like, you know, they held them to 115 points. I mean, the Suns, they put 23 and 26 up. So they scored 26 and 23 in the third and fourth quarter. I know this sounds really funny, but that's not great in today's NBA, right? Like, no, the Lakers sucked at both ends of the floor. Don't get me wrong. But the one thing that the Suns had going for them, they hit 14 threes.
Yeah.
They were 14 of 42. And the Lakers started making a run in the third quarter. LeBron caught fire. The Lakers were making a run. It just didn't seem like, well, they weren't making a run, but they were going score for score, bucket for bucket. The Suns did a good job of neutralizing the Laker comeback attempt in the third quarter, because I even told you the other day, the Lakers were able to cut that to within 20 to 22 heading into the fourth. I believe the Lakers had a very good chance to come back and win that. The Lakers went on this tear. They had hit 4 of their last 6 3-point shots, but the problem is the Suns hit 3 of their last 6 shots. 3 of those were threes, and the other 2 were dunks down low. If the Suns shoot like that from behind the 3-point line, and they're not a very good 3-point shooting team to begin with, they're winning tonight. I don't anticipate the Suns shooting well from behind the 3-point line again tonight, mainly because they're on the road. They're at Los Angeles. Laker crowd's going to be loud and rowdy. Lakers get it done tonight, force a game 7.
All right. Number 4, the USFL has announced a new league coming spring 2022. 8 teams. They say they're going to deliver high quality football and innovative for their professional fans out there. Over or under 1.5 seasons for the new USFL?
I like the idea of spring football. I find this odd. I think that right now, anyone that's attempting spring football right now, the problem is all these guys are cannibalizing one another. I thought, honestly, I'm really disappointed. I can't believe I'm saying this. The XFL, I thought, was built to be the most successful of them all, this most recent XFL. The XFL was rolling, Kev. The ratings were good. They had good attendance. They had good publicity. They had good, like, really mature adults running that league. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the XFL, the gimmicky WWE professional wrestling feel like it had way back in the early 2000s.
He hate me.
They had, like, it felt legitimate. And I think, there's a shot that this could work, but we're talking over 1.5 seasons, over under. I'm going to say over, just to be optimistic, mainly because I think that had COVID not happened, I think we would still have the XFL. I think that the XFL was having a very successful run. And I think that the XFL would have come back last year had it not have been, or this year had it not been impacted last year. So I'm going to say over, because I think if you just give one of these new fresh leagues time to grow, I think it'll be fine. But what was the one that folded before the XFL?
Oh, man.
The XFL didn't fail. The XFL was a casualty of COVID. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it failed because it was a success. It was actually getting ratings. There was actually decent players on those rosters. It was it looked good on television. It wasn't a bad product. It failed because of COVID. I forgot the other one. The other league too was tough. And that started literally, you had the Super Bowl 1 week, and then the very next week was week 1 of that league. So I'm going to say over and be optimistic. If any of these leagues can be able to get through the first season, I think that they can keep building on it. But, man, we haven't seen a success story when it comes to this in quite some time. So I'm going to be optimistic and say that, yes, one reason why, Kev, I think that if sports betting can get its clause on this, like I think sports betting needs to become approved across the country at a much quicker rate. It needs to be done here in this freaking state like yesterday. And if that happens, if more states with, if the states with these teams in them can have sports betting, I do believe that that could play a huge role in that. I think that that's going to make that highly more interesting. I'm actually really curious what sports betting could do for a lot of the sports that aren't as popular. I would love to see, you had the WNBA, you had some of these other professional sports in there. I think that sports betting can actually kind of help a lot of these, these pro sports teams or leagues out there. I'm curious. I'm going to say over just because I want to be optimistic for once.
Okay, over. It was the Alliance of America Football League. That's the one that lasted
and
about.
They didn't even have money to pay anybody.
So you said you're going with the over. Unfortunately, I'm going to go with the under. We just haven't seen a league make it. We just haven't. And I think the NFL is going to cannibalize it. I think the NFL purposely cannibalizes other sports leagues that have nothing to do with football. There's a reason why all these events for the NFL take place at strategic times. Like there's an event for the NFL every single month. They quote unquote take June off. But we got tons of Aaron Rodgers conversation. There's always going to be a disgruntled player. There's always going to be multiple guys there on the trade blocks. We talk about Julio Jones. We talk about Julio Jones and Aaron Rodgers every single day until they get traded. They're the hot commodity. And also something about football that why we love it so much, we only get it for a short period of time. If you got football all the time, would you love it as much? I don't think so. And the quality of football ain't going to be what we're used to. Like we let it pass. We let the quality of football slide when it's college because we know it's college. But these guys are technically going to be professionals. So I don't think it's going to last, man. I don't think people are going to catch on to the new USFL.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be, no one's going to be buying jerseys. No one's going to be going all crazy and, anything like that. But I think it can succeed. It's just, I think that's why the XFL I thought was close to being able to succeed because they had money. Mm-hmm. While these other leagues were hoping to generate money to keep it going to where the XFL already had the money underlying, it was already laid in there. Oliver Luck was running it too. Yeah. Like they had big hitters in there. It wasn't like it was just, a very, slapped together like a business thing. Like I thought they did pretty good with it. We'll see.
All right, got one more for you. Obviously, Coach K announced his retirement yesterday. He's going to coach one more season. So, Jim Boeheim, my guy, head coach of Syracuse, over or under 1.5 seasons left coaching for Jim Boeheim at the Cuse.
So we've seen, look, years ago we saw Calhoun leave, of course, issues with UConn. We've seen some legendary coaches in this past 10 years call it a career. Roy Williams is officially done. Coach K will be done after this year. Calhoun is gone. Patino, surprised he came back. He swears that this is his last stop, that he has no interest in taking bigger jobs. So we'll see if he sticks to that. He's always been a man of his word. With that being, that was a joke. You didn't laugh. Thanks for that. Now I feel like Coach K and his little goat and donkey joke from earlier.
I was reading something.
I'm going to say under. I think the reason I'm going to say under is because with Calhoun, or with obviously Calhoun gone, but with Roy Williams gone and now Krzyzewski gone, I think that if he announces his retirement at the end of next season or one more season, like what Coach K just said, all eyes would be on him, and he would be the last remaining big dog out there. I think that after Krzyzewski, who's that?
He picks his nose all the time.
Who?
Boeheim.
I'm just
on TV. I'm making fun of him.
But he would be the last big dog left. So I think that I'm going to say he's going to be done after this, not this coming up season. I think he'll do what Coach K does a year from now, announce that'll be his final season. Is he still have a kid on the team?
Yeah, two.
Yeah, how old are they?
They're both seniors this year. His oldest son transferred to Syracuse from Cornell, and then, Buddy was on the team.
So he
already.
can't, I'm going to say more than one. I'm going to take the over because he can't retire after this year. 1.5. So I'm going to go, then the under, I guess. Okay. So, no. I'm sorry. I'm going to take the over. He's coaching this year and going to coach next year. He can't retire after this coming up season and take the attention away from Coach Krzyzewski, or selfishly for his ego, doesn't want to retire at the same time as Coach K because all the attention will be on Coach K more than him. If he retires the following season, he gets 2 more years coaching his kids, and he gets to retire without the shadow of Coach K being around him. Roy Williams is already gone. I say 2. I'm going to say the over. Coach Boeheim, 2 more years. He's coaching 2 more years.
I'm going way over. I'm going 5 more years. This dude,
wow.
Yeah, man, this dude, All he does is watch basketball and golf. That's it. Like, that's it. He has nothing else to do with himself. So why wouldn't he continue? Like, he's in good health, even though he is 76 years old. I believe he is the oldest coach in D1 basketball. But I think he'll just stay. Like, he strikes me as a guy that is super stubborn. Like,
he struck
that.
You? Oh, man.
Oh, goodness gracious.
You okay?
I'm perfectly fine.
Did he not see you? Did you have time to move and get out of the way?
Goodness gracious. He is I think he's a super stubborn guy that's gonna stick around past the time that they want him. I think they're gonna have to be on a situation like a Bobby Bowden situation where they're gonna have to be like, "Hey, coach, get about it. You
don't have to go home. You got to get the hell out of here."
I think that he looks like that type of guy to me. From every interview I've ever heard from him, and I've been a Syracuse basketball fan for a long time, he gives me the vibes that I ain't leaving until they make me leave vibes.
Yeah. I think they tried taking his keys away from him too, and he said, "I could still drive."
I can't stand you.
Bernie Sanders lookalike.
That is true. That is true.
Feel the burn, baby.
I think, was it you that we were talking about this? When when tall people get older, it looks weird because this dude is like 6'6". So when I went to a game a couple years ago, it was actually the Syracuse and Duke game that I went to, and we were kind of like down close to the court when they were warming up, and I didn't realize how tall he was. He was talking to one of the centers on the team, and they were looking eye to eye, and I know the center on the team was like 6'10". I was like, that looks weird because he's old. Like, is that foul? Does that mean that when tall people get old, they look weird? No offense to anybody.
Luckily, I don't have to worry about that. My 5'5" ass is only going to continue to shrink as I get older.
Maybe
so
you
there
get a
you
growth
go.
spurt.
I'll just be like, I'm gonna get the soles in my, to get the lifts in my shoes and all that. I'm gonna be a cute old man when I get older. There you go. All right, that is Over Under with Kev Nash. Meep meep. Move. Get out the way. Get out the way. When Boeheim's on the road. That was Kenner rapping, trying to make an insult towards Kev's team.
Can't stand you.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a high near 75. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with showers and possibly a thunderstorm, a low near 58. And tomorrow is going to be partly cloudy, a high near 83. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. Find out why 98% of their customers would recommend them to friends and family. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get to where you want to go. For advice on solutions like XPS 13 laptops powered by Intel Evo platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Credit Karma Money is a brand new checking account where you can win daily instant Karma purchase reimbursements on items up to $5,000. Over $3 million in instant Karma has already been given away to over 50,000 Credit Karma members and counting. Visit creditkarma.com/winmoney now to open your free account and start winning instant Karma. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MVB Bank Inc. Member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Clay's Cleaning Service has a spotless reputation.
Take care of the windows. Hello, this is Clay.
But his business operations could use a light dusting.
I had you scheduled for next week. I'll just check here. No, absolutely. We will be there tomorrow.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is the sound of a popular American motorcycle. It's the sound of freedom, the open road, really good times. And this is what it sounds like with a drunk guy in it. How do you like the sound of that? Cops are cracking down on drunk motorcycle riders. If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested. Drunk riding, over the limit, under arrest. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
I can't take this anymore.
I have nowhere to go. I lost my job.
I feel alone.
Crisis Text Line is here to help day or night. Text 4HOPE to 741-741 for free and confidential support. Text with a trained volunteer to move from that hot moment to a cool calm.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Panera favorites are hot and ready to serve for dinner. Taste our creamy mac and cheese served in a crispy bread bowl. Or the classic bacon turkey Bravo featuring our signature sauce. How about our new mouth-watering Chipotle chicken and bacon flatbread pizza? These and other favorites are waiting for you. Order dinner tonight for delivery or pickup. Only at Panera. Availability and pricing may vary.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So again, Alex Sogard, Wright State baseball coach. 24 minutes from now, we'll chat with him ahead of the Raiders regional, the Knoxville regional matchup with Tennessee. Wright State the 4 seed, Tennessee the 1 seed, and again, Wright State winning their conference championship for the 4th time in the last 6 years. And again, they have a lot of future Major League Baseball talent on that roster, which of course that's been the norm for Wright State for quite some time. I mean, we talk about programs. We talk about Krzyzewski leaving. Can programs lose coaches like that and still remain a big time top program? I'm confident that that's the case. Not comparing Wright State baseball to Duke basketball, but that's the case. Anytime you're able to achieve success, can you sustain it? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. That was always when UD got to that number 3 ranking in the country a few years ago, being able to sustain it. Having the year they did last year, I don't believe that they were not able to sustain it. I think it's a matter of were they able to capitalize on that in recruiting? Obviously they did. They have this huge recruiting class. That's most of them, I think all of them, if not all of them, are on campus officially. I think that was that ballooned out because of the run that they went on with Obi and the Flyers. Unfortunately, no NCAA tournament for them. But it's not, people think that sustaining it means never being down, never having a down year. Sustaining it means taking the success you have and continuing to take it to that next level and build on it in recruiting and everything like that. So I think that's going to be the case. But with Wright State baseball, this isn't new to them to have these players all being sought after for the draft. I talked with Sogard earlier today. He said that, last year there was a lot of guys that, were being looked at to go in the draft, but many of them opted to come back because I think instead of I forgot how many rounds there are in Major League Baseball. I think they only did 3 rounds last year, 3 or 4 rounds of the draft last year, as opposed to 7, if I'm not mistaken. So imagine in the NFL, if they normally do 7 rounds. Imagine if last year they would have just said, we're only going to do 3 rounds of the draft. You know how many guys would have not have opted out? They would have come back. That's kind of what happened in baseball last year, and Wright State definitely benefited from that. But man, they have draftable talent and prospects all over that roster. So that'll be on ESPN3 tomorrow. Wright State, Tennessee the 1 seed. Wright State last year, Tennessee was ranked 11th. Wright State took 2 or 3 from them last year, as far as that goes. So that's probably, again, the roster's a little different, not much. Obviously, Tennessee got better, but Wright State's better than last year as well. I'm excited to see that matchup tomorrow.
Absolutely, and you got to think about the Wright State program, athletic program in general. Obviously, the women's basketball team got their first NCAA tournament win. Look at the men's baseball team, the volleyball team. And then you look at the men's basketball team. Obviously, the season didn't end the way we all wanted to, but they were wrecking shop.
24 points in 6 minutes.
Anyway,
this minutes, 15 seconds.
This year for the men, for not only the men, but the athletic department at Wright State was outstanding. So this way better than I do. So when you have an outstanding year like Wright State had overall athletically, where does that put you in the NCAA's eyes? Because it's not oh man, you guys had a great season, here's a bonus for the school or anything like that. What happens after you have a great season like that? Look,
I don't think it's an NCAA thing. I think it's more of a, you start looking at other conferences looking to absorb your program, and you making a jump to that next one. I think right now the school's financial problems are getting in the way of any opportunity that this program could have, because people always look at, okay, if the basketball program is making a huge run, they need to get to a bigger conference. Wright State's basketball program is really, really, really good. I still think they've underachieved as far as taking the talented teams they've had and getting to the NCAA tournament. With Nagy, they've got there once. I think that they've left 2 good teams on the table the last 2 years. Yes, I know last year there was no NCAA tournament, but they were upset in their conference tournament before the season was even canceled. So they got the auto NIT bid. But I was like, no, that was an NCAA team last year. This year was also an NCAA team, and they came up short again. So that's what is frustrating, is I think that there's been tournaments left on the table from that. But if you would have taken that, I look at Wright State as an athletics package as a whole. Mm-hmm. When you have their volleyball team getting at-large bids, when you have their women's team making the tournament and getting huge wins and making runs in the NCAA tournament, you look at how good the men's team is. Baseball, this is the frustrating part. I don't understand how the RPI works in baseball. Everyone always thinks that the net ranking in basketball and the RPI is unfair in basketball. I think it's worse in baseball. Basketball, I've seen mid-major teams be rewarded. Like UD, I'm not calling them mid-major. I think that we need to change the tiers of that, because I think there's high major. UD should be considered mid-major. Wright State should be considered low major. That's not a shot at Wright State. That's just the reality of it. It really has a lot more to do with resources and everything like that. Like, it's not saying you're low major that it means you're nobody. It's just saying, hey, your school's not as big, doesn't generate as much revenue, and you don't have as many resources. I think it simply comes down to that. So, but UD being a mid-major, they got the benefit of the doubt. I mean, all the voters and everything could have said, hey, we're not going to rank you because you did not beat a top 25 team. You almost beat some good teams, and then you beat up on a very average A10 conference that didn't have any top 25. They were still the number 3 team in the country. They were still going to be the number 1 seed, one of the number 1 seeds, because they've earned the respect of college basketball that they're not going to, their conference isn't going to hold them back. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt. The A10 is not a disrespected conference, but it's not a premier conference, Kev. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they've earned the respect of college basketball that they're going to get the benefit of the doubt of, hey, we don't need to see you play somebody to know that you're somebody, because that's how respected the UD basketball program is. Wright State baseball, they do nothing but beat top 25 teams year in and year out. They recruit the hell. I mean, their recruiting is unbelievable. You watch how big their baseball team is. I went and did the PA for the Horizon League tournament this past weekend, and I walked out there onto the field, and I'm watching, Milwaukee. I'm watching these other teams, and they're big, athletic-looking baseball player. And then I look at Wright State, and it's grown-ass men. Like, they're massive. And guys I've talked to, like when Wright State went and they played against the SEC schools, like the SEC broadcasters came over and said, usually when these schools bring in these mid-majors, it's just to kind of buffer their wins at the beginning of the season to kind of get their feet wet a little bit. They bring Wright State in, and they find themselves in a regional-level matchup in the first week of the season, and that's not an easy series for any team at the beginning, because Wright State has future Major League Baseball prospects all up and down the roster. They're legitimate. So that, I think Wright State as a whole, and athletics package as a whole, it's not just we always talk just basketball.
Right.
Wright State athletics as a whole, for men and women's sports, that's a hell of a package when you talk about another bigger conference absorbing them. I just think that unfortunate, the disaster that is Wright State University, the academic side, okay, that has totally messed things up, I think, for the athletics department. This has been one hell of a run this past decade for athletics for Wright State. They've dominated that conference in all sports. And I just think that because of the financial issues that the school is facing, you actually have people on that school board that are trying to argue that athletics is an issue with the school. And they don't understand, for as smart as these nerds try to be that are making decisions for Wright State, they actually don't understand how important athletics is when it comes to bringing attention to your university.
Right.
Half the time, the only reason people hear about Wright State is because, the women's team made a huge run in we got that big upset win in the NCAA tournament. Wright State men, they're on ESPN more than any other school in the Horizon League and get nationally televised games. Baseball's making the NCAA tournament. Wright State volleyball, they're getting that large bit. That's why you have to keep athletics. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I don't get how people as educated people that think they're as educated as what they are, that are making some of the decisions for Wright State right now, are literally trying to convince people that athletics is the real problem. You think cutting athletics is going to get enrollment to go up? I think that's going to make it even worse, because now even less people will know who you are. So I just think it's a disaster, and it's not even an athletics thing. Athletics has done their part.
Right.
They've done their part. I don't know what, I'm sorry, I'm going on my soapbox here, but I've been holding that in for a while. I think it's a mess.
Because you look at teams like Butler, who were in the same conference as Wright State, they made their runs in the NCAA tournament. They went to 2 national championship games. They got guys drafted in the NBA, Gordon Hayward being like the guy that everybody recognizes from Butler and everything like that. So you're right. Like when they had those elite teams the last 2 years and they failed to, get in, that hurts it. But you look at them and they've been able to parlay that into a Big East. Like Butler's in the Big East. Yes, the Big East isn't what it used to be, but it's still the Big East. They're still playing Villanova. They're still playing Georgetown on a yearly basis and everything like that. So that can only help the program. And obviously them being on network TV a ton obviously brings in more dollars. So I'm with you. I want them to capitalize on this great run that they're on, not only the athletic department, but it's great for the student athletes. They can be a part of something to say, hey, you know what? We took them from a mid-major to a different mid-major that has a bigger TV contract. We helped our university out a ton by getting them on more TV screens and helping enrollment and everything like that. That'd be a tremendous accomplishment, not only for Bob Grant, the AD, but, the student athletes over there at Wright State. We pulling for them.
Yeah, and keep in mind, too, it's like, okay, your basketball team, let's say that the men's basketball team had made the tournament 3 the last 5 years, but baseball was no good, volleyball's no good, soccer's no good. yes, basketball, that's the cash cow right there. So that's going to be good enough to move you. But that's what makes Wright State even more interesting is because it's not just basketball. That's good. It's every damn sport.
Right.
Like Bob Grant, I pissed him off years ago because I thought that I knew more than he did. And I said that he was, I was like, I went off. I was like, I can't believe you're going to fire Billy Donlin. That was the biggest mistake that you could ever make. Yeah, I can make scrambled eggs with all the eggs on my face. So him and I have had long talks since then, and I was clearly wrong. He clearly knows every time a coach leaves, he brings in an even better coach for all those sports. So, by the way, Wright State did not pay for this 10-minute long PSA.
Go Raiders.
So there you go. But nonetheless, hey, how about this local story real quick? A local high school quarterback is planning to visit Ohio State next week and also was just invited to Michigan's camp coming up here in a few weeks. I'll tell you who that is. Again, it's a player out of the G-Walk. We'll talk about that on the other side. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We're taking the masks off and putting the sunglasses on. Excited to see family, travel, or attend a ball game. You deserve your best vision. Dr. Patrick Spencer of iWorks Laser and Vision Center has 23 years of experience in cataract surgery with multifocal lens implants. These premium lenses allow you to read a menu and drive without glasses. Dr. Spencer is the area's 5-star eye care provider. Call 937-226-7870 because at iWorks, it's about seeing your best. Visit iWorksLVC.com.
Because it's my vision, I take the most studied eye vitamin brand.
Because it's my vision, I take the eye vitamin brand backed by 20 years of research.
Because it's my vision, I take PreserVision.
Age-related macular degeneration is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. That's why the National Eye Institute did 20 years of clinical studies on the formula that's found in PreserVision. From the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb, PreserVision AREDS 2 formula eye vitamins contain the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Because it's my vision, I made a plan with my doctor that includes PreserVision. Find PreserVision in the vitamin aisle and look for savings on PreserVision AREDS 2 in your local paper. Available at Walmart.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
It's time for some straight talk. You've got real work to do, but everyone's sucking up the free Wi-Fi faster than a Mocha Choco double frap on ice. So be your own hotspot. Now with Straight Talk Wireless, get 10 gigs of hotspot data with the ultimate unlimited plan. Just $55 a month on America's largest and most dependable networks. You don't have to find a hotspot. You are the hotspot. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
O'Reilly. Ready for an oil change? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are here to help. We'll make sure you have all the supplies you need to make the job quick and easy. Right now, get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $28.95. Plus, get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Jess's 30-minute bike boot camp? I guess it's that kind of day.
Are you ready for a total body workout, Peloton fam?
I am.
We'll start the class on the bike and then move to the floor. Let's get it.
With Peloton instructors right in your home,
Are you feeling it yet? Let's keep pushing for 5.
you have motivation that's ready when you are.
Clip off that bike and meet me on the mat for lunges.
I got this.
You showed up today, Peloton. Who's feeling sweaty and strong?
Definitely me.
Tap into your motivation at onepeloton.com.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Johnny Manziel says that he made a decent living selling autographs at Texas A&M, but he never took $1 before winning his Heisman Trophy. So he never, I forgot how you got to listen to it. It was with the Barstool Sports. I mean, it's actually a really good interview, and I really don't have an issue with it because everyone's like, see, I knew these guys were doing that. Yeah, we all do. Folks, Ohio State players are doing it.
No, they're not.
Like, everyone is doing it. Like, that's the thing. And I think that that's the one thing that even I have to convince myself of is that this stuff is going on. Like, people act like these guys aren't making money off to the side. And the second that the NCAA approves it, they'll all of a sudden be magically making money. The difference between what's going to happen after it's approved versus before is that now it's just going to be done out in the open. And taxed and monitored, wink, wink. Like, there's always going to be, there's going to be new loopholes. There's going to be new opportunities to funnel more money to these guys. Like, and if you think that there's a cap on what these guys can make, that cap, it'll be surpassed because they'll just find, okay, we're going to funnel you your money normal. And then we're going to have Skylar White and Walter White money launder the other money to you somehow, some other way. The bottom line is that this whole thing, he said that he made detailing 2 different transactions in 2013 that he says netted him. He made $33,000. It's lit. He goes, we're doing it all sneaky. We don't want to get caught, and we're trying to learn from everybody else who got caught, Manziel said during the interview that was published on Thursday by Barstool Sports. And I may or may not have gone back to this guy's condo and signed probably 10,000 pieces. He gave me $3,000. First of all, you signed 10,000 pieces. You got $3,000. That means you weren't even making $1 per autograph. So I mean, that's good for that guy, by the way. Well, I mean, but again, when you're in college, you're not trying to do that mental math right there. You're like, all you heard was $3,000.
Right.
You didn't understand that. Hey, no, even if you were dumb enough to say $1 an autograph, $1 an autograph still sounds like you're getting screwed over. But I mean, at least if you're signing 10,000 pieces and it's $1 an autograph, you're making at least $10,000 as opposed to $3,000 for 10,000. He had to have been like over exaggerating the amounts, right?
I don't know, man. I know every state is going to have different rules about
Texas. You don't get taxed anyways, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Even the dirty money.
I know in Georgia, like their rule is going to be totally different from everybody else's. They're going to try to implement a situation where your player likeness money that the school can take up to 70% of the money
and then distribute it to others. That's dumb. If the players are going to get money, it is theirs. The other one I heard that is absolutely ridiculous. We're going to hold on to it and then we'll give it to you at the end of the 40. No,
that is
it's
ridiculous.
My money. Give it to me, or I'll go find 10,000 pieces to sign and make $3,000 the back doorway, which I'm probably going to do anyway, even if you do give me my money up front. But at least I'm just being honest with you. Look, I have no problem with what there's a lot of reasons to dislike Johnny Manziel. This isn't one of them, because I promise you, your most loved and your most beloved college athlete did something shady at one point. I don't believe in innocent athletes. And by the way, when I say that and I say that they're not innocent, I still don't think they've done anything wrong. I still don't think that if you force them to be sneaky, you have forced them to be sneaky. If someone came up to you out of nowhere, I'm shopping at Walmart, minding my own damn business, and someone says, Kenner, will you sign these 10? I'll give you $3,000 if you sign these 10,000 pieces. Oh, I can't. My radio station says I can't do that unless you set it up. I won't tell anybody. Well, shoot, give me that marker. I'll be right. That's the thing. On that note, last note here. Marcus Hartman does a great job with Dayton Daily News covering high school sports around here. He tweeted out earlier today, the Cash App. You got to be kidding me. Really? Springfield quarterback Tayshawn Smoot is planning to visit Ohio State next week, and he has already been invited to Michigan's camp on June 13th. Again, Springfield quarterback Tayshawn, man, he's fun as hell to watch play. I love watching him play. Mo Douglas does an amazing job with the Wildcats, man. Like, he has some major players out there. Tayshawn's one of them. I've watched him for a few years now, and I'm really pumped to kind of see what the future holds for him at the college level. But good for Springfield, man. They're spitting out college athletes left and right. Wayne's doing the same thing. There's a couple big guys there's a couple big names from Wayne that were just at Clemson's camp, and we'll do, I just think that the talent around here is so freaking cool. I think we focus too much on rando players from around the country going to Ohio State, and I don't think we do a good job around here of covering the athletes around here going to the schools we may not cover, but I think it's a bigger deal. I think Tayshawn going to Michigan is a bigger deal to me here locally than some rando from Texas going to Ohio State that I could be a fan of later. And I don't have to be a fan of Michigan. If Tayshawn ends up going to Michigan, I'll be pulling for him at Michigan, just like I pull for all the local guys. But I've been fortunate enough to work with Keith Byers the last few years doing high school football. There is so much freaking talent around here. And shout out to Marcus Hartman with Dayton Daily News. Does a great job covering the local high school scene. So shout out to him. I think he does a great job. I miss Mark Pendleton too. Mark Penda used to do an amazing job. I used to love having Pendy on when Schlemmer and I were doing the show, but Dayton Daily News has some good high school writers. They need more. They need to respect the high school scene more. They need to put more guys out there. But Marcus Hartman does a great job. Shout out to him. Hour 3, the Justin Kinner Show. Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Alex Sogard, Wright State baseball coach, Raiders and the Volunteers in the Knoxville Regional tomorrow in the NCAA Championships for baseball. We'll talk with Wright State baseball coach next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.